Okay, so this is step 2 in our baguette making process. What you want to do is take your sponge that's been developed. It's been sitting out for 3 to 6 hours depending on the room temperature and other factors, and pretty much depending on when you want to start making your dough. Usually I make my sponge around 1 or 2 p.m. and then I make my dough in the early evening. So anyway, I'm going to show you right now what a good developed sponge looks like. So I'm going to take my bowl that's been covered and sitting out in the room temperature, and let's look at the sponge. You'll see that it's bubbly across the entire surface, and if you watch closely you'll actually see it continuing to bubble as we're looking at it. So this is a very well developed sponge. It's actually been probably sitting out longer than it needs to, but again, it's not a big deal if it does. There's not any alcohol or whey on top, so we know it's not overdeveloped. The other thing you want to be aware of is if it's underdeveloped, you're not going to get your dough to rise properly. So you do want the surface of the sponge to be completely covered in bubbles. And like I mentioned, this is very covered, and we don't need this many bubbles, but you want most of the surface to be bubbly. So at this point we can go ahead and make our dough for our sourdough baguettes. I'm going to take 1/3 cup of this out and save it for my next starter, and then I'm going to use the rest, the remaining starter sponge, to make my bread dough. All right.